Hi, I'm Lakshmi Narayan. I am going to talk about prepositions. We have learnt our English grammar thanks to Ren and Martin. There are 8 parts of speech as we have studied, conventional English grammar, school stuff, and I bet we can count all the 8 parts of speech: noun, verb, adjective, adverb, prepositions, pronouns, conjunctions, and interjections. So prepositions belong to a closed class of words. When I say closed class, I mean that these are functional words. They cannot be changed. These group of words remain the same in the English language. They are not subject to change. So they cannot be added on to. Examples of prepositions are in, on, out, between, around, with, within, without. There are a certain number of words only in English language which are prepositions, which are used as prepositions. Okay, what do I mean by open class of words? Noun, verb, adverb, and adjectives. These are all open class of words. We can go on adding words to these four parts of speech, and essentially the open class. For example, the word Facebook was not there 20 years ago. Right now, everybody uses the word Facebook as a noun. When you say I'm using Facebook, I'm on Facebook. When you say are you on Facebook? Yes, I'm on Facebook. In that sentence, the word Facebook is used as a noun. And I am Facebooking now. You know, people say I am Facebooking now and WhatsApp me now. There is an Android app called WhatsApp. So when you say WhatsApp me now, it means that text me, send me a text using this app called WhatsApp. So there, WhatsApp is a verb, interestingly. So Facebooking, I am Facebooking. There, Facebooking is a verb. So these 4 parts of speech, to these 4 parts of speech, you can go on adding a number of words as new words come in from different languages, or there are new terminologies which are coined. We can go on adding words to these 4 parts of speech. Essentially noun, verb, adjective, and adverb. But prepositions you cannot, because the parts of speech such as prepositions, conjunctions, interjections, and articles they are functional. They form, let's say, the skeletal structure of English language. So if they cannot be changed, they cannot be added on to. No, you cannot afford to lose words out of them. So they essentially remain the same. And preposition is called so, it's preposition. It's called preposition because it occurs in a sentence in English language before the object of the preposition, which is preposition, which is always a noun. The object of the preposition is always a noun. Let's take examples and analyze how this works. When you say I am on the bus, the word on is a preposition there. The bus is the object of the preposition, which is always a noun. And in this sentence, I'm making a statement. It is an information. I am telling someone I am on the bus. It could be over the phone. I could have got a call while I am traveling on the bus, and I am saying I am on the bus to someone. What it conveys is that I am traveling, I am on the bus, and the bus is moving. So I am inside the bus. But why don't we say I am in the bus? Interestingly enough, in Tamil we do say that. The equivalent of I am on the bus in Tamil is Naan Perundil Irukkiren. When I say Naan Perundil Irukkiren, il is a suffix to this noun, Perundil, which stands for bus. It's a suffix which acts as a preposition, and it translates into in. So it literally translates to in. I am in the bus. So speakers, non-native speakers, Indian speakers usually use the expression I am in the bus. But the grammatically correct way of expressing that is I am on the bus. There is no huge difference. I am in the bus or I am on the bus. The listener understands that you are traveling in a bus, you are traveling on a bus, and the communication is made. But there are certain places where you cannot afford to make this kind of an error in prepositions. For example, the words between and around. If you take a look at this picture, there are two houses here, and there is a fence. There are two houses here, and there is again a fence. So there is a sentence here. This sentence is, I'll read it out for you. The fence between the houses refers to this fence, which is between these two houses, and the fence is here. But when you say the fence around the houses, it refers to the perimeter fence, which covers the perimeter or that marks both the houses. So you cannot afford to mix up between and around and expect to communicate the specific meaning that you're looking to communicate. So that's an example where prepositions can go horribly wrong if you misuse them, if you don't use them correctly, appropriately. So prepositions are essential, and let me tell you something about the kind of change as a non-native speaker that I have had to adapt to in order to use English language effectively. This particular sentence, Naan Perundil Irkiren. The sentence pattern is subject, Naan, I, Naan, Perundil, which is the object. Perundil, object inflected with a suffix which stands for the preposition, Perundil plus il, Perundil, Irkiren, which is the verb. So my native structure is subject, object, preposition, and then verb. So when I form a sentence in English, when I'm trying to communicate that in English, I will be saying I am on the bus, which is subject and verb, on preposition and object. So there is a very fundamental change that I have to make in order to speak in English. So I cannot afford to think in Tamil and speak in English. I have to think in English and speak in English. So translating does not go well when you're trying to communicate in English language, especially when the essential syntactic structure of your native language does not correlate to that of English. If it is not, if it is not of the same structure. So and prepositions, what do we use prepositions for? We use prepositions for to express three basic relationships. First one is a spatial relationship, the second one is a temporal relationship, and the third one is a possessional relationship, one that of belonging. I'll give you examples for that. The first one is I am on the bus, I am walking along the corridor, I am inside the house, we are in the swimming pool. The prepositions I am on, along, inside and in, they all refer to two objects. For example, in the first sentence, between I and the bus, this particular word on expresses the relationship between the subject I and the object bus, and where one is placed with respect to another. Another sentence would be the portrait is on the wall, the bag is on the table, the bottle is beneath the table. So when you say the bag is on the table, with respect to the table, the bag is at a higher position. When you say the bottle is beneath the table, it is at a lower position. So prepositions define spatially how two objects are related: the bottle and the table, the bag and the table, respectively. So and prepositions can also be used temporally. When you say I will be there in 15 minutes, so it connects the action of the person I will be there in 15 minutes. The subject I is traveling, and the subject I is expected to arrive at that destination in 15 minutes. So that's how the noun 15 minutes, which is the object of the preposition in, is related to the subject I. Or you can also say meet me after 3 days. So the act, the verb of meeting, to meet, is supposed to happen after 3 days. The three days is the noun, which is the object of the preposition. Here the preposition is after. Meet me after 3 days. So this after links the action of meeting to the noun 3 days. So, and essentially the object of the preposition is always a noun. There are a lot of examples for prepositions. I can give you some right off my mind. Before, after, beneath, above, afterwards, within, without, beneath, between. So many words which are used as prepositions. Especially, okay, we can memorize all these prepositions. We can study all these prepositions, but essentially in usage, especially when communicating to a native speaker of English language, we need to figure out where these prepositions fit and what kind of prepositions to use. There are complex prepositions also. For example, turn in and turn on. The policeman, for example, this sentence: the policeman turned in the convict. But if you were to say the policeman turned on the convict, that would mean an entirely different thing, and humor would ensue. So it's very important to use the prepositions correctly, and I think that will be enough to cover an overview of how the prepositions work in the English language compared to another language of a different structure, which is Tamil. And yep, thank you for the time. Bye.